You are not here to be someone's checkpoint for growth. Hello, family, and welcome back to Vibe Check. Today's conversation is for anyone who has ever felt like their very existence became someone else's teachable moment. This is for the ones who've been cast into the role of the healer, the guide, the strong one, the explainer. Not because you chose it, but because someone else needed you to play it. And you were just trying to be soft, present, human. You didn't sign up for these roles. You didn't ask to be their mirror. But there you are, again, holding space that you didn't exactly consent to. If that resonates, stick around because we really need to talk about how setting boundaries and breaking free from people's projections is a spiritual practice of its own. I want to clarify that there is nothing wrong with being an example. There is something so beautiful about living your truth so fully that it inspires others to do the same. But there's also a difference between leading through embodiment and self-erasure. And when those lines are blurred, that's when it can cross into martyrdom. When being an inspiration starts to cost you your peace, your presence, your well-being, it creates a leak in your energy. Some of us were born into this world carrying a particular type of energy, whether that's a grounded energy that helps people feel at ease, a soft and knowing energy that helps people feel held and seen, an ancient energy that embodies wisdom, or something that just feels different. None of these make us more special or more evolved. They're simply the energies we came in with, the medicine that we're meant to hold. And that energy attracts people who are searching, struggling, projecting. You become the safe one, the one that they vent to, the one that they learn from. You're the one who inspires them to grow without ever being asked if you wanted that role. And sometimes you hold that space because you genuinely want to, because you're compassionate and you care deeply. But too often, that care turns into labor, and labor can turn into identity. You stop being seen as a full person and start being seen as a mirror. I'm not talking about the type of mirror that shows you truth in a sacred relationship, like with a soulmate or a guide who helps you evolve with intention. I'm talking about the kind of mirror that people use to bypass their own work, the kind that makes you responsible for their triggers and their growth and their healing, because that's not connection. That, my friend, is projection. I want to make sure I say this with as much care as possible. Some people don't actually see you. They see who they need you to be. And the more you perform that version of yourself, the more disconnected you become from who you actually are. This shows up in so many ways, from the Black woman or femme who becomes the face of everyone's unlearning, or the queer person who becomes the moral compass in a heteronormative group space, the soft one who everyone turns to when their nervous system is in chaos, or the person in spiritual and leadership spaces who's expected to always have the right words even when they're tired or grieving. People come to you with unspoken expectations, but as the saying goes, who heals the healer? Who's holding you? And more than that, why were you cast into this role in the first place? Sometimes it's your energy, sometimes it's your lived experience, but often it's someone else trying to shortcut their own spiritual work, consciously or subconsciously, by standing close to yours. When someone else assigns you a role that they don't want to play themselves, they often place the responsibility of their growth onto your shoulders and then call it a relationship. And I want to say, if you're someone who's realizing that you've done this, assigning meaning to someone's presence without fully seeing them, this is not about shame. It's a chance to be more intentional, to build relationships rooted in truth and not assumption. Because there's a difference between being in conscious community and being emotionally outsourced. Let's talk about what happens when you stay in that role too long. You begin to people please, not just because you want to be liked, but because it feels safer to stay in the role that someone else assigned to you. You begin to hold back your truth so you don't disrupt their illusion. You say yes when your body's actually saying no. You over-explain your experience. You shrink. You soften your edges. And suddenly, your presence stops being a reflection of you and starts becoming becoming a projection of others. I have found myself in that dynamic more times than I'd like to admit, especially in relationships where I was cast, silently or explicitly, as the one who could help them grow. And because I care deeply, I stayed way longer than I should have. I tolerated behavior that I would not have accepted otherwise. Not because I didn't know better, but because I thought I could be the one to help them be better. What I've had to learn is that taking on someone else's growth as your responsibility is not compassion. It's a form of self-abandonment. It often pulls you deeper into patterns that are more draining than they are nourishing. My love, you are not here to manage someone else's emotions. You are not here to spiritually babysit people who only love you when you're useful. You are a full human soul with your own needs, your own journey, and your own timing. And if this is landing, if you're seeing yourself in this conversation, drop a quick "that's me" in the comments or just let me know what's coming up for you. The more I've untangled myself from those roles in spiritual relationships, the more I've started noticing how they show up everywhere. As a Black woman and someone who carries a grounding, intuitive energy because of the gifts passed down to me through my lineage, I have often been treated like I'm endlessly available, like I exist to help other people feel spiritually evolved, to carry their guilt, to explain my experience, to stay soft in rooms that never asked if I felt safe. But I also had to learn I don't exist to be digestible. I also don't exist to be a checkpoint on someone else's healing journey. And neither do you. You deserve space to just be, to not be the moral of someone else's story, to not have to translate your truth every time you speak it. Because hear me when I say, you are not here to be someone's checkpoint for growth. You are a whole sacred self and you get to live as such. So what does it look like to break free? It looks like boundaries with love. It looks like no longer over-functioning just to make others feel comfortable. It looks like refusing to let your identity become a classroom. It looks like seeking community that doesn't require a disclaimer. And it also looks like resting in your fullness without guilt. You are not here to be spiritualized or dehumanized or interpreted through someone else's lens. You are here to live your truth on your terms. All this ties back to this month's theme in full color. Being seen in your wholeness means refusing to live inside someone else's spiritual projection. You are not grayscale. You are not the background. You are the full expression, the image and the light. You deserve relationships that reflect you, not distort you. You're here to live as you are, fully, softly, unapologetically. You don't have to be the strong one. You don't have to be the mirror. You get to be present, and that's enough. So take a breath here. Maybe place a hand on your heart and the other on your belly. And let that truth settle into your body. Let it anchor into your nervous system. You don't have to carry what was never yours. You don't have to stay in roles you never agreed to. You get to choose yourself over and over again. And that choice, my love, is yours to honor. Let's chat, family. Have you ever felt like others projected spiritual roles onto you? What is one way that you are reclaiming your energy and your truth? And who are you outside of the roles that people assign to you? Let me know in the comments below because I always love hearing your reflections. And if this resonated, you might want to watch this episode of Vibe Check next. It's all about holding space for the freedom of being misunderstood while living in your truth. Let your fullness be an offering. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.